Hey friends and colleagues, welcome back to another episode of Unfinished Business, your self-empowerment sanctuary where we learn, grow, and level up. I'm sure you are all aware now of who got elected as the president of the United States. I don't want to dwell on it. I'm sure a lot of people are feeling the same as I do. It's not a win. And just this is now a week after, and I mean, just the people he's picking to lead or manage a lot of like the top people in the government that are going to lead things is just it's just getting worse and worse. But I'm here to uplift you with a technique, and I will get to that in a bit. I'm gonna keep doing what I do, be positive, and just really manifest positivity and not dwell on the negative things. And that's what I'm trying to do, really. Move on with the things I love, like, for example, this creative outlet of this podcast and my company. I now have a new hire, a part-time new hire, which I just adore her vibe and energy. And she lives in Maryland, actually. So it is a completely remote position. And it's been great. I mean, it's like obviously super new, but I definitely hired based on the energy that she evoked and also just like our dynamic. I wanted to highlight something because I rarely go into, because when you start a podcast, specifically in my case, I use Spotify, and you do get access to a whole dashboard of like stats and stuff like that. And I'm not the best at going in there because from the beginning, I come from a very marketing heavy and social media heavy background, and that really took a toll on me. And I decided to start this project of this podcast with just leading with the passion that I have for the creative outlet and not by stats or social media. And I have to post, and that is not where my energy will focus on. And, but I did go in the other day, because what I do love to see is where my podcast is being heard. And because I don't know, I have an international background, I'm just genuinely interested in the world and what other people do and like cultures and all that stuff. So I looked just the other week, and I have a new listener from Mongolia. Hi, and welcome to this cozy community. I just got happy because that is definitely a country that I've never really heard about. And since I am such a geek for learning new things, I did a little research on Mongolia for this in honor of this new listener. You, the listener from Mongolia, needs to contact me by my DM or in any way. I want to hear more about you. This is so cool. Anyways, so this is the little research that I did, and I noted a few fun facts. So Mongolia is an East Asian country and the world's largest landlocked country, bordered by China and Russia. The national dish is called buz, B-U-U-Z, which is a variant of a dumpling. So if you look up pictures, it's a dumpling, which I love a good dumpling. So I was like, yum. I almost wanted to get a recipe and make it. They have their own Olympics games every summer called Nadam Festival. And Mongolia has one of the world's youngest population, with 63.9% of residents under 35. That's truly a young population. Wow. And 28.2% under 15. That's crazy. I was immediately looked up, do they have TikTok over there? Because their content must be mad. I mean, that's that population is crazy. I had to also look up the top 50 in music in Mongolia. And so I found a super cool indie pop band called the Royal Heartaches. The Royal Heartaches. And so I'm going to play a song for like the outro of this podcast episode of that band. Like I literally like just like went in, I'm like, oh, I like this band, and so listened to it the whole day when I did my research. So anyways, welcome Mongolia. All right, so in this week's episode, as I mentioned in the very beginning, it's a tool, it's a technique. So I just wanted to go back to the core intention of my podcast, right? Like I am a person that always love to learn and grow and just really assess myself as a person and always try to be a better version of myself. That is just who I am innately in my core. And so this podcast is my outlet for that. And I truly feel that I have reached some sort of like ceiling in my life where I don't think I have the tool or techniques to move forward, right? I feel like I need that external help at this point. Like, during my whole life, I've had, amazing parents or amazing, grandma, mom that just always share their wisdom, people, friends around you, and mentors during my career, my work career. But I think I'm at a place where I feel like stuck. Like I feel like what I want to move forward. I guess I'm in a crossroad where I feel that I need some sort of community around me in this stage of my life to just grow. Like I want to like level up. I feel like I've done so much for myself and I'm very proud of what I've accomplished and what I can do with my mindset that I already have. I have a very strong mindset, I believe, very positive and kind of like a go-getter. Like I can do everything I set my mind to. But so I felt like I came into this crossroad of like, what is next? I looked into it as also a coaching, program. I'm genuinely interested in becoming a coach because I think that's the natural kind of like almost for me at least progression because I have been in a supportive role for a very long time, which is a role that I'm perfectly fine with, by the way. Even though I have my own company and I am the owner of my life and my company, but it's always in that supportive role. Like I genuinely like to help people to accomplish their goals. And so I looked into the coaching program and to become a coach, and that I've actually been doing that in a super slow pace. I'm half through the program. It's an online certification. One insight that I got was, coaches and therapists, they're not really there to give you advice like from a personal space, right? It is the whole purpose of a therapist or a coach is really to give you the tools and techniques for you to figure out what the next step is for you. So it really took me to a completely different place of like evaluating myself, right? If I was coaching myself, like what are those questions that I have to question myself in order to move on or move forward? What's coming up is basically all the tools and all the techniques. And I wanted to share it with you because I felt like, okay, I'm learning something. This is something new. And I'm only doing that because when I saw this our new Mongolian friend, I also saw like the top episode actually is 5 questions to clarity. I think it's the very beginning of my podcast. And that's just tells me that you are also interested in like tangible tools or tangible techniques that you can apply to your life. And so here is a technique that I want to share with you. So it's called the Wheel of Life. And it is basically, and I forgot to say this at the beginning, but you can stop this episode right now and there will be a page or a document that you can download. And I will link it on my podcast description where you can download it and kind of like print it out and, do it with me or do it before you listen to this episode. But like I said, it's called Wheel of Life. And I think it's a very cool kind of way to start any type of self-development or self-growth because it's giving you an oversight or a perspective of your whole life. Okay, so what you see in front of you, it's a wheel of life. These categories are what encompasses your life, right? So let's see, that's 8. So we have 8 over here. So we have career, family and friends, significant other or romance or relationship, whatever you want to call it, fun and recreation, health, money, personal growth, and physical environment. So the whole point here, so as you see, like if you're closer to the core of the wheel, it's number 1, and then it goes all the way out to 10. And 1 being, least satisfied in these categories, and 10 being the most satisfied with any of these categories. So you're going to color in or fill in all these little pie pieces based on how satisfied you are in that category of your life. And then you can see how this wheel of life, were to be an actual wheel on a bus or or on a car, or on a bike. Will it be an even ride while this wheel is going to, go around? Or will it be bumpy and clunky because there's, some of these categories are not filled out completely? And so I found that really fun, visual, right? Like, so you can visualize these abstract feelings into something visual. I thought that was really cool. These categories can be based on you can make this yours, right? It doesn't have to be 8 categories. It can be 6 categories. It could be 4 categories. Like it's you're the owner of this exercise, and what you think is important in your life, you would just add that. But you would have to make it a circle anyways, and just split the circle in the number of categories that you want to use. But just to follow this example, questions that you can do in each one, because you can also be saying oh yeah, career-wise, since there are 10 kind of the scoring system is 1 to 10, which you can also change. Again, you can make this yours. You can change it from 1 to 5, make it a smaller wheel, but it has to be the same criteria for each category. So, you can say, oh yeah, it's good or bad, right? But there are nuances to a category, which you can just make sure that you use the same criteria to all of them, right? So questions that you can do for each category, for example, career, is my job rewarding? Does my job reflect my values? Do I have the opportunity for advancement? For health, it could be, am I generally fit and well? Do I eat healthy? Do I exercise regularly? And this is also such a subjective thing, because you can say, what is regularly? So you can set up your criteria. Maybe what is healthy for me is not healthy for someone else that is a complete athlete, So just make sure that you set up an even criteria throughout the categories. For friends and family, do I have a close circle of friends? Do I spend enough time with my family and friends? Do I value the relationship that I have with each of these important people in my life? For fun or recreation, do I have a me time scheduled? Do I even have a me time during the week? Do I know how to relax? Do I enjoy any sports? Do I have hobbies? For money, do I earn enough and live within my means? Do I save enough? Am I planning for financial freedom? And for the significant other and romance category, you can ask yourself, do I have or do I want a soulmate? Do we share values and intimacy? Am I nurturing the relationship we have with each other? And then the personal growth questions. Am I learning new things? Do I enjoy new opportunities for growth? And then physical environment. Do I like the area in which I live? Is my home comfortable, tidy, and warm? Is my car serviced and reliable? You can take it anywhere, right? Whatever that means for you. Physical environment, for me, it could be having, I just ordered a new set of sheets for our bed, because there's nothing more rewarding than showering at night and going to bed in a new, clean, laundry washed sheet or bed. It's just the best. Where to gear all these questions is are you happy with this category? Is this category fulfilling enough for you? And once you have that kind of like set up, you are going to start to fill in, like I said, each category by the scoring system that you gave it. And then you'll see, like, you can even cut it out, honestly. Like, if you want to go like full visual, you can cut it out. And then see, like, is it wobbly? Like, how's it? How is your wheel? This is why we're doing this, right? This is just to assess and put our life and our categories into perspective. Like, you can visually see where the problem is, or where the problem lays, and like, where do we go from here? And one thing to point out as well is that sometimes when you work on one of these categories, that could impact the other category. It's always going to correlate. And so you have to be aware of that like, okay, if you're going to work on something, it's probably going to mean that it's going to impact and maybe take some time out of another category. So that is something to, just keep an eye on. And then this is actually where I got a list of questions that I'm going to share this on the doc. But this is how we determine goals into, let's say we already have a category that you feel like, okay, I'm low on this category. I need to fix this right now. So then these are a few questions. I'm going to share a few, but you're going to have the full list of questions in the doc that I'm going to share. One question could be, have you ever been higher than the number you have recorded? So let's say you're low in the relationship category, and, have you been happier, or have you scored that category higher during your lifetime? And if you did, then like maybe go back there and like, why was that different? Like, why was it scored higher, you think? And what did you do then that you're not doing now? And you can just start to kind of think back and reassess about a time where things were better in that category. What exactly do you want? Because sometimes actually your category where you are, you're like, I'm good here. My wheel is wobbly, but I don't care because this is good. I like it wobbly. Like, you don't want that category to be a 10 or a 5. Like, you want it to be like, it's fine. Like, I don't really, and if that's the case, then you probably wouldn't even put it on the wheel if it's not important to you, to be honest. But you just have to be very honest with yourself. Like, what exactly do you want, and what do you want to reach? What is the number? Like, what's the magic number that you want to reach on each category? Another one could be, what other options do you have? Just try to expand your mind and think outside the box and create some alternative options to how you can manage to, up your score. Ask your best friends or your family, like, hey, I'm trying to, I want to advance in my career, or I want to actually, in 2025, I'm going to find my boyfriend. Ask your friends or family, and like, what would you do if you were me? Like, what is a fun, creative way of meeting someone other than like apps? And just like really think outside the box, and sometimes rely on your community or your safety net of people to help you on this journey. Create options for yourself and alternatives and fun ways to get to a result. And I think I've heard this many times, and it's so cheesy, but it's so true. If you continue to do things the exact same way that you've done your whole life, guess what? The result is going to be exactly the same as it's been your whole life. So if you start to pivot and do things a little bit different, even if it's like a small, nudge, you don't have to do drastic changes, but like, just start with small little changes and adjustments, and you will get a completely different result. All right, I think I will leave this episode for that, and I can't wait. If you want to share your wheel and your exercise, I would love to hear it. I do have a voicemail link on my podcast episode description. I am so happy that you chose to spend a little time with me. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out with me, and we'll see you next time. Toodles!
Зүүдэж хоцорсон миний царайг Бүхнээс үлдсэн яар өсөл нэг өсөл эцсийн утаа харах үсэл